So today we'll be doing a Lightroom edit, transforming the photo on the left to the photo on the right. I'm Richard and welcome to ZP Productions, and this shot of Tinneh here done at Raffles Marina Lighthouse area is a shot that we're going to do for the editing this time. And we're going to transform the left to the right itself. Notice the right side shot is a bit more teal and orange, a bit more desat, a bit more decontrast, and that is the effect we want from today's shot itself. But before we start, let us look at how this was shot itself. So just to note, the sun is on the right side and it's about 9 to 10 o'clock sun. So if you actually look at the shot itself, there is shadow on her back. It's not too long, not too short, showing that it's an early morning shot. And not only that, the color is very white, so definitely it's after sunrise significantly, probably an hour or two after sunrise. The shot itself is done from above the knee level, below the waist level, and it's done with a short telephoto lens. So if you notice, the land area itself has a really low horizon compared to if you normally shot from the top or you shoot from the waist level. So this kind of shot is great because it emphasizes the model's legs, and if the model has nice feature, especially with the face, it is a really nice angle. So beyond that, let's go on to the edit itself, which is done in Lightroom. Now if you don't want to follow my edit, you can download my preset below and figure it out yourself. But if you want to see how I do it, just continue on with this edit itself, and probably you will learn a thing or two from me. Okay, so we are going to do the edit and we're going to transform the left to the right. Notice the right is teal and orange kind of tone with a bit more desat, a bit more decontrasted, while the left side has this very strong blue and a lot of shadows, and we're going to remove bulk of the shadows from the shot itself. Or should I say lighten the shadows itself. So let's just do the edit itself, and first we will remove the comparison. And then we'll reset this to baseline. Now notice that the photo is tilted slightly. So if you ask me, the first thing you ever do in a photo itself is to frame it properly, and now I'm going to frame it properly first. So I'm going to detilt the shot. Or should I say rotate the shot slightly. Okay, now with the shot itself, then we will look at the edit itself. So as I say, it's going to be a desat, decontrasted look. And if you look at the profiles itself, there are a few profiles here, and usually Adobe Portrait has the most desat and decontrasted look, while the rest are very strong, if you notice that. Well, maybe Portrait and Standard is not too much difference. But just to note that always start with a good profile, and if you're using Fuji camera, I would recommend use Eternal or Classic Chrome. And if you're using something like, say, the Canon cameras, consider Canon Neutral. So I will start with the Adobe Portrait as the base one, which is not so saturated, not so contrasty kind of profile. And if you go straight down below, you will see this thing called calibration. I usually start with that first if I'm going to go for a teal and orange type of look, because this will edit the entire tone, make it more natural. So firstly, I will shift the blue primaries. That will bring out the teal in the shot. And I'll shift to about maybe 28, 30 kind of number. And then I'll increase the saturation because I want to enhance this color a little bit. So maybe about 10 to 15 will do. Okay, now we got the colors of the sky out. So next thing we want to move is the face. And notice the skin tone itself has turned orange a little, and I don't want that. I want it to be more green back, so I'll bring it back up to the green tones. So maybe around 18 or what? Okay, then I'll reduce the saturation of the thing, of the skin, maybe 10 to 50, 40. Is it 40? Yes, great. Okay, so the skin tone is a bit more normal now, and the sky is really teal. So that is what we want as the baseline. So we'll shift all the way up again, and then we're going to drop the contrast straight away because that is the feel of the shot that we want. A bit more flat, a bit more decontrast type of shot. So maybe about 40. And then we move to highlights, and this one is very simple for a morning shot. I'm going to shift it all the way to the left. By doing that, I bring out all the, I would say it's details out from the dress itself and from the sky, but it also creates, this very grayish look of the sky. We will fix it later. And if you notice, the sky color started turning slightly. So the shadows, I will lift it up, and this is the one that removes the, the really darkness in the face itself. Just don't bring it too much to the right. Yes, it will lift up really nicely for the skin, but you notice the hair itself, which is black tone, will turn gray, and that's not what you want. So probably lift up to about 40 will be fine, and then we'll do another post-processing layer above it on the face later. So for the whites itself, the same thing. Move the whites to the left for a flatter tone, right for a more contrasty look. So I'm going to move it to the left slightly, maybe like 10 points. And I think, yep, that is about fine. And the blacks itself, as I say, once you go for a decontrast look, you will probably want to bring the blacks to the right. Not too much also, because if you bring it too much, you'll see the hair turns gray again. And that's not what we want. We want the hair to be black still. Okay, and that is about it. I think a bit more will be good. Yeah, okay, great. This will be it. Now we'll move down below, and today we're not going to touch texture, clarity, and the haze, because for this shot we don't need such effects. And we'll look at vibrance and saturation. So for vibrance itself, we are looking at a slightly more vibrant shot, but slightly desat in general tones. And that is good. Yes, I think this is what I probably want, I guess. Okay, great. This is the type of colors that we are looking for. And then we go down the curves, is using my standard S curve. So this, okay, so what's the difference between using a curve and using the levers on top is that the levers on top will edit the whole shot from the base up, which is the raw, while the curve will start editing whatever you have done above and applying the effect on top of it. So usually I would say as you both can achieve almost the same effect at times, but the output normally would be slightly different. So I personally do curves after I do the top, don't do curves first, because the curve is highly reliant on whatever you have edited on the bars on top, because those affect the raw itself, while this one affects the output of the raw. Okay. Now we move on to the color toning itself, and that is where we shift slightly here and there. So for the skin tone, I want to shift slightly more orange tone. And then for the blues, the aqua layer, I'll shift a bit more of the teal out. I think slightly we do. Okay. And then we go down saturation, because I want this very pale looking skin with a slight tinge of orange. So I'll just desat the skin slightly, will do. And then for the saturation of the colors itself, I think I'll go for slight desat, so for a flatter look. So, okay. Now if we go down to luminance itself, that is where we will edit the colors of the skin tone, the brightness of the skin tone, not the color, sorry. So we'll leave the skin tones brighter a bit, and then we'll leave the sky. So remember, the sky was a bit gray looking. By doing this, it will remove the gray a little, but it's okay to have the gray because we want that feel of this really softly contrasted look, but not so dark. And that's what we're going to do, and we raise the two bars below. Now if we move on to the last one, we split toning, we will actually introduce a slight blue in the highlights. I think that will give a little bit of mood to this shot itself. Just a slight tint, and that will be enough. Now this shot itself has reached a point that is almost close to completion. So it's really the minor tweaks here and there. So if I want a bit more teal, I shift here a bit and I get it. And if I want a bit more warm, I will shift the temp a bit, and I get that. Okay, and then maybe I will just shift this slightly down. Yes. Okay, great. Now the shot is almost really close to what I want. So the last thing I will teach you in this tutorial is the localized edit again. So we'll zoom in on her face, and then we will take what I call as a radial brush and then just cover over her face. Now actually that looks pretty fine already, but if let's say you already want to fine tune your edit itself, you can go to range mask here and then click on luminance. So what happens is that you don't want the hair to be affected, and you don't want this bright area of her face to be affected. You just want the darker shadows to be affected. So what you can do is straight away, push down the right side and then make sure that, all the bright areas are not affected anymore. Yes, great. And then you pull the left side to make sure the hair is not affected anymore. Okay. And then you may want to reduce the smoothness a little bit, and then it will be more precise in where it's targeting. Okay, great. This will be it. So I'm going to remove the luminance mask, and let me show you the effect if we drastically lift the face up. See, now notice now that we can control quite well where the dark areas on the face is. So there is some double lining here, and that's because we didn't do a very good job in the luminance mask. So let's go back to luminance mask. We see this area here that's causing the dark lining. So we probably want to smoothen it out a bit. And then probably, lift this up slightly more. Okay, I think that is great. Remove the luminance mask, and then it's smooth off. Okay, good. So that is about it for the edit. We zoom out. This is the shot now. Now if you look at the before and after, quite a big difference in terms of the whole shot itself. So that is pretty much it for my tutorial today. I hope you like it, and this is a really simple one compared to the rest because there is not much localized edit. Of course, we can continue doing more and more edits on it, but it's really up to you to really choose what kind of effect and where do you want brighter, where you want darker. So if you ask me what do I want to do further, probably I want to reduce the brightness in the dress a bit more so that I can get more details. I'll probably leave a bit of shadows and also put more shadows in on the face, certain places here and there. But that can be done in Lightroom, or that can also be done in Photoshop. So it's really up to you how you want to edit. And that's about it for today's edit. I hope you enjoy it and hope you learn something from this. If not, I will see you next time in my next tutorial. Bye bye.